Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Jade. It is Thursday on week 6, and Jade's decided to move her whole apartment to somewhere else in a different time zone where it is like 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's just, I don't know what happened. I've gone to England or something. It's trying to lighten up, but it felt like I literally, just before we got on, I said to Kyle, I was like, is my time gone funny? Like,
what's the hell?
It's so black. Yeah.
And for me, it's just cloudy, windy, and rainy yet again. Another day where the skate bowl is too wet for me to take the skateboard out.
The new skateboard, has it even hit the road yet?
Well, I did have a bit of a play with it in at the workshop yesterday, so I'm feeling okay with that. I took it in there, so I thought I'd get a little bit of space to do that. So it's had a run. It's had a bit of a torturous start to life because it's taken like 2 weeks longer than it should have in the post. And but you know, anticipation is sometimes a good thing.
It is the build-up.
Build the excitement. I thought today, I was thinking as we were chatting with Charlotte last night, and our wonderful Charlotte. No, not our wonderful Charlotte. The wonderful Charlotte.
No, she's ours. We're not. Yeah, we'll share her sometimes, but.
She was talking to us about, what we should talk about today. We sort of went, hey, what should we talk about? And she said, why are we doing it? And we sort of had this bit of a random tangent on Simon Sinek's Why. And apparently you have read it. and so I thought it was probably a really good prompt to talk about, I know for me, in probably maybe the 6 months before we kicked off, I wasn't looking after myself. And I know that, and I knew that at the time. But, I didn't want to do anything about it, and sometimes we get into that slump where we're grinding away. We're doing things we know that aren't necessarily great for ourselves. And, I know I should do something about it, but fuck it. I just can't be bothered right now.
I read, I don't know if you know Anthony Chanasmooth. I saw something he put up the other day about Clover Fatigue, and like how COVID, like it's a legit thing. I clicked the article open, I haven't read it yet. But a lot of the things he was talking about in terms of, the loss of motivation because you loss of freedoms that, and oh wow, funny. And then last night I was on my Stephen Kotler training, and we're talking about how a lack of autonomy can stifle not only motivation, but your ability to hit flow state. I haven't put the two together, but just did. Light bulb.
It's all about joining dots.
The dots. Neural pathways starting to fire. But like so many people started to develop COVID fatigue because their lifestyle had changed so much, and there was so much change, or the confines and or if there was other things were forced into routine, then your other routine dropped off. And even my amazing sister-in-law Paige, she's just got herself back into. She's been going for, I think, she might have been 6 weeks as well, just by coincidence. And she's lost 10 kilos. Like my brother's like, "Who are you? Stop going! Like stop." And she's like, she didn't set out to do that. She just set out to get herself back to what she used to be like as a person, in terms of she used to go to the gym, and then she just said, during COVID, she just couldn't give a fuck. And like, there was just these different things and everything was always changing. And it was just like, just an emotional bang, bang, bang. And realized that she needed some self-leadership, and it was go back to the gym, looked at what was taking time. They weren't eating great because just they'd moved house, and there was all these things. And it's like, what can I do? And she went to having meals delivered, which then took away and it wasn't she said, I don't think it's about what the actual meals are for her to like what's actually in them. It's that it stops them from eating worse stuff because there's something.
Make food appear.
Make food appear. Yeah.
I say that quite a lot to Tash, where I go, she goes, "What do you want for dinner?" make food appear.
Make food appear. We've heard my story about make food appear.
and so you're
make food
100%
appear.
right.
The correct answer to that is, when it's time for the food to appear, what do you want is not the right. That's not making food appear.
Just make food appear.
Yeah.
And you're 100% right. The COVID fatigue thing, and I'm sure everyone is feeling it, like particularly here in Australia, where, I guess for New South Wales, we haven't been locked down quite as much as Victoria, and they've had worldwide, they've had the longest lockdown anywhere. So I can only imagine how they're how people in Melbourne are feeling. I know for us, like, it would have been that 6 months ago where we started on this COVID roller coaster again, and every week we were rescheduling like 3 months worth of work. And it was every week. It was a fucking dread, like it's like, fuck, and not just for me and not just for you, like it was for the whole business. It's like we're replanning every, and we're changing the 3 months, and that bit's going to be all right, that bit's not, and it's just this constant harassment, I guess, of what's coming next. And then, as you say, throw in a couple of other life events, and all of a sudden it's like, no, fuck this, I just can't be bothered.
It's like that beer is going to taste good at the end of the day.
And that just becomes a habit. It's like, I've just had a fucking prig of a day, I'm just gonna go and have a beer. It's my wind down.
Do you know what else I think happened for those that couldn't go out anywhere? Your sense of days got a little bit lost. Do you know what I mean? Like, you used to go, because you didn't really drink on the weekend, during the week, or eat crap food during the week, because you're going to catch up with your friends and you knew you were going to do that thing then.
Yep.
So do you know what I mean? Like, and you might have takeout on the weekend, or people had not necessarily the best routines or habits, but a lot of people would do that, right? Oh yeah, I just have a beer on a Friday when I see the boys, or when we go out on the weekend, we go to pizza and we we let our hair down. But when that, when people, well, we know this with Eric and that, emotional eating or rewarding ourselves with that sort of stuff. Like, if you've had a hard day or it's been tough, like, we can sometimes reward ourselves with bad things, and then that becomes the habit. Or it's tough, so have a glass of wine or wine, and then it's like, why not?
Well, I used to work with a guy that traded futures and all of that, and he was a day trader, so really high pressure. I don't know why it's called day trader though, because it was at night.
Always at night. I think it's a day at.
He said that he started off where he had a really, really good night once, and he decided to have a bottle of wine, celebrate, and then it turned into, well, fuck it, I'm going to have a bottle of wine anyway.
Yeah.
And that's the realization that you have, isn't it? That it's then turned into a habit, and that's why we've decided to do a really strict set of 6 weeks and habits, and try and stay really, really tight to it, so that we can break the bad ones. Try and ditch the bad ones. Really embed some good habits, even if they're going to change a little bit next week and beyond. Really, really knuckle down on those good habits. Remind ourselves of why we do that. How much better we feel in ourselves. We were just talking just before we turned the live stream on. I've got a very low level intolerance to wheat and dairy, and I know that if I have too much dairy, I feel really sick in the guts, and I know if I've had too much wheat that I end up with basically pimples up the backs of my arms. And it wasn't until I did Wild Fit last year that I realized how big a difference that makes by taking it out of my diet completely. So I let that creep in, a bit of laziness with the kids, moving house, and then all of those sorts of things. So a little bit of laziness comes into it. But it's good to remind myself again of, how big a difference that actually makes, and, retune the habits about, definitely not having too much.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that we were talking just before about momentum and the importance of, like, reminding yourself of why we did do this, why we chose to, like, why did we choose the diet that we chose, or why did we choose the time of day that we woke up? Why did we choose the type of book that we read? And like momentum is what helps us to stay motivated, being able to reflect and to see that. But also, like, if you want to look at, I was just saying, like, if go back and watch video 1 at Kyle's face. And I asked him specifically about the wheat, because I know wheat can make me hold. I suppose it's water weight. It must be, it's the retention of the fluid, because it's an inflammatory.
It's inflammation.
Yeah. Like, and you can see me through here, I lose definition if I've had a lot of weight. So even if it's going back and looking at the physical side, but what would be great is to try and drop back in and think about, how were you feeling the day that you decided that you were going to join 6 Weeks Solid? Like,
scared.
Scared as fuck.
Because Jade said we had to get up at 6 o'clock every morning and do a live.
That is a dead set lie. That is such a lie. I said, let's do a live on the first day at 6 a.m. And then we were making your 6-week plan, and you said, we're going to go live at 6 a.m. every day. Because I've been harping at you to do lives, and I don't know, something about me saying I need to do lives every day.
And look, again, you know, from a work perspective, it was another habit that, you know, while we don't necessarily need to keep long term, both of us have said to each other that, you know, we've proved it. We can do it. We can, you know, we can have the content. We can be regular. You know, it's something that's doable. We've now proved it to ourselves. And you know, as I said last night, and particularly to Charlotte, you know, why not? There's no reason not to. Yeah. No, we can do it now.
No excuses. So I'd like everyone just to take a minute, Kyle, to drop in and really think about, though, like, what was it that went, I maybe need to do this. I need this for myself. Like, I need this self-leadership. Yeah. Was it because of bad habits that got out of whack? Was it that you dropped some of your old favorite habits and they'd taken a nosedive? Were you not feeling emotionally great or physically great? Did your pants not fit? Like, what was it that really made you?
You might have that same problem at the other end too.
Yeah. Yeah. A whole nother problem.
Damn it. I tried to fix that problem.
Yeah. Steve had to buy 4 new pairs of board shorts. Yeah. So, yeah, really think, like, drop back in and think about, like, what was the feeling? Because if we don't remind ourselves, it'll be easy to let things slide back in. Yep. And then we end up there again. Yeah. So you got to remind yourself, right back to what you said at the very beginning, start with why. Yeah.
And, you know, I'd strongly encourage everyone not to rely on the scales to tell them, you know, whether they've done well. Steve must have written in there that his pants don't fit.
Maybe your pants didn't fit to start with.
Steve or maybe Tash.
Might be Tash too. That's a man forward slap. That's
it's a man one, is it? I couldn't see that. So to really not necessarily rely on the scales to let you know whether you've actually had a success, because I don't own a set of scales. I haven't got a set of scales here anywhere. And all I can rely on is the way that I'm feeling, and, you know, how some clothes fit and all of that sort of stuff. But the problem, and my body's horrendous for it, is that when I'm in peak shape, my BMI is absolutely rubbish. Because I'm a naturally big guy. I put on muscle really, really quick. So if you rely on BMI, my BMI is through the roof. But if you look at lean mass, I'm actually doing really, really well. So, you know, having a set of scales doesn't actually give you that really great indication. And it's super important that you learn the internal feelings, the internal motivators, and the internal triggers that let you know that you're in good performance or good mode, or if you're not.
Yeah, I've got the same problem. I build muscle and I'm quite dense muscle wise. So if I used actual scales, I would just cry my eyes out. Because often I feel like my pants are getting looser, but the scales are going higher. And, like, we know, you know, if you're an athlete or you know if you're a trainer, like muscle weighs more than fat, and you know these things, but still, it's kind of like those rules that the society tells us about weight. For me, it's I see the inflammation weight is the main thing. But it's that it's those feelings, and it's more about like I think it just comes down to how you feel. Like, how did you feel before this, physically, mentally, emotionally, and how are you feeling now? How do you want to continue to feel? What do you know is the things that's going to help keep you on track or keep you like on the wagon, so to speak. And because it's when you give yourself the permission to those little slips, that's when everything falls down. So I just really, really want people not to go, oh yeah, I got to the end of it and everything goes back out the window.
Yeah, definitely. So for today, everyone, have a think about why you got started. Really think back to the day that you went, yep, I'm on board, I'm jumping on this train, and I'm going with Kyle and Jade. And what was it that was motivating you? Are you feeling better from that? And how are you going to keep feeling better into next week?
Yeah, love it.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Have an amazing day, everyone. It is Thursday. We are not on a slide. We're on the step up, because next week's going to be just as amazing as well. But enjoy your day. Reflect on how you're doing, and we'll see you back here at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow morning, guys.